One addendum to this, I would no longer put Amy Schumer as the #1 worst comedian of all time. I would give that to Brendan Schaub now. I think I would comfortably put Brendan Schaub as the worst comedian of all time. I finally got around to watching his new special, Gringo Pappy. It's worse than anything that Amy Schumer's put out, and that's not something I say not something I say lightly. That was a really hard one to sit through. So I'd put her comfortably #2, Brendan Schaub #1.
Why? Well, the countless different reasons for it become most interesting when you realize that toward the beginning of her career, she was actually liked and respected amongst the general population. For example, she was listed in Time's top 100 most influential people of 2015, whilst her comedy specials such as this one, and this one received mostly positive reviews, one of which confidently stating that Amy Schumer leaves her audience in stitches.
Aww.
However, while this review was mostly positive, if we go back a couple of sentences, it also points out the first reason as to why Amy Schumer would eventually become so hated. It's easy to label Amy Schumer a one-trick pony. As the title of her special suggests, she talks about sex and she doesn't talk about much else. Her idea of comedy is making jokes about how terrible her vagina smells and or how many guys she's blown. That's not comedy. This was a comment on a thread discussing why her style was so controversial, the thread including another supporting comment which stated, you can call her a one-trick pony or two-trick, which are 1. Here is my vagina. Want a detailed description? You will have it anyway. 2. Men are pathetic, and I like to assault / manipulate / emasculate them in every way. With these two comments in mind, it becomes obvious that not only does Amy Schumer have a lot of diversity in terms of what topics she jokes about, but her narrow style of joking about her own female anatomy in an unflattering way, whilst constantly joking about men in a derogatory way, is simply going to make her unappealing to a male audience, as well as specific females such as this one who had commented, you can only have so much self-deprecating humor before people get tired of it. How much do I need to hear about her pussy? Certainly not the entire length of her stand-up show, that's for damn sure.
That's a little disingenuous. Her most recent special only had, I think, 2 sections for vaginal related topics. And then the other section, I think, was diarrhea. She was talking about food poisoning. I don't remember much else, but she did it while she was pregnant. Like that special, I think it was while she was pregnant.
Such as the discussion of female promiscuity, also leaves Amy Schumer open to political backlash and debate. This is the next thing that began to turn the audience against her back in 2016, politics. One article written by CBS News stated, around 200 people walked out of her Tampa show when Schumer launched into a withering takedown of Donald Trump. It's somewhat of a surprise that fans were caught off guard, because Schumer isn't known for suppressing her political views. In addition to this,
her
Amy
dad
Schumer
is
would announce that she was
very
pregnant,
powerful
posting
senator.
the list of the
That's
people
how she got her
voted
start.
for, adding at the bottom, I'm pregnant Amy Schumer, using her pregnancy to drive traffic to the candidates which she considered to be favorable. Whenever Amy spoke politically, she always took a liberal viewpoint and was very anti-Republican, even having interviewed Hillary Clinton, yet her audience would come to discover that back in 2007, Amy Schumer actually got her first big break as a guest on Fox News, which was a pro-Republican news station, angering both sides of the political spectrum. Amy going public with her political opinions meant that she had now alienated another 50% of the already small audience that might still be interested in her style of comedy. Additionally, whenever Amy Schumer was criticized for the comedy itself, she'd use politics as an easy way out by simply blaming the criticism on the alt-right, as highlighted in another comment which stated,
I remember
most
that
of all,
one.
when her audience gives her honest feedback, she whines about how her critics must hate women or how they're all alt-right. Yeah,
she made a giant post, or someone on her team made a giant post on Instagram, I think it was, when her second to last stand-up special absolutely bombed. I actually think that's the reason Netflix got rid of the star ratings, is because of her special, because it was nothing but overwhelmingly 1 stars. And she made a giant post about how it's like men just hate women these days, and it's all the alt-right that are taking down Schumer and this and that. So she is very, very much delusional on why people don't like her. PewDiePie's even mentioned in this article here, I just noticed. PewDiePie did a good roast, check it out. Cool. Thanks to 5 gift subs, Zephyr. Appreciate the generosity. And the resub, Shedder, Zealot, South Park, Pain, Resolution, and Tier 1 Gator. And the resub, Jarvis.
Sure, Amy, the only reason people hate you is that they're all a bunch of Nazi anti-Semitic misogynists. This comment also highlighted the next reason as to why Amy Schumer became so hated, and that's her lack of personal responsibility and victim complex, which is sometimes
she can't take
even mixed with a
criticism.
hint of entitlement and the contrary attitude that she's better than everyone else. For example, in late 2015, an article was published by Page 6 titled, "Amy Schumer thinks she's too famous to check in at the gym," which read, "Amy Schumer was not happy this week when staffers at the Upper West Side Equinox asked her to present her membership card, which is standard practice at the upscale fitness club. She felt entitled to just walk in," a source explained to Page 6. She didn't want to show her key fob and wanted to be able to go in and not be questioned. We're told the annoyed trainwreck star declared, "I'm famous," when employees didn't recognize her and insisted she go through the typical check-in procedure. While Equinox believes Schumer eventually enjoyed her workout on Monday afternoon, our source said she was so unhappy she stormed off. A different article sporting similar energy was titled, "Amy Schumer can't be bothered to take photos with fans," which stated, "Amy Schumer wants to make it clear she does not owe you a selfie."
I'm just gonna tell you right now that doesn't bother me. No one's entitled to give you something. Like you're not entitled to a photo with her. I don't know why you'd want one unless it's just as like a joke with your friends, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that perspective. I think that's totally fine.
The article went on to describe an exchange that Amy Schumer had whilst in town for a comedy show. "This guy in front of his family just ran up next to me and scared the shit out of me. Put a camera in my face. I asked him to stop and he said, 'No, it's America and we paid for you.' This was in front of his daughter."
Okay, this is a r/never happened moment. What? "No, it's America and we paid for you." That absolutely never happened in the history of this fucking planet. Oh my god.
"I was saying stop and no. Great message to your kid. Yes, legally you're allowed to take a picture of me, but I was asking you to stop and saying no. I will not take pictures with people anymore, and it's because of this dude in Greenville." Yet, after the other person involved was then interviewed by a local news station, a whole different side to the story was revealed.
But he tells us
probably
that's
the
not
truth.
exactly how it went according to him.
I see her face and I'm like, all right, cool. So I hurry up and get on my Instagram and I'm like, here goes Amy, and then she just loses it and she just gets mad, and that is totally false what she wrote about me.
So if Amy Schumer was too famous to check into her local gym or take photos with fans, she must have thought pretty highly of herself.
So there's I don't think there's any heroes in this situation. Like, even in his own video here, he's clearly already recording while she's just out in public. That's some douchey shit. Like, you're in the wrong here. And then Amy, for some reason, still manages to take an L by making a completely made-up story about how this guy said he paid for her and that she owes him a picture, which clearly doesn't even seem to happen here. They don't even interact. Amy still can't even accidentally take a W in anything. It's crazy. Fucking crazy. Hey, Dom. Thank you for the 5 gift subs, man. The gift sub, Eris, and the resub, Nady, Sky, and the Prime Creates.
Was too famous to check into her local gym or take photos with fans, she must have thought pretty highly of herself. If that's truly the case, then surely she'd be happy with an $11 million offer from Netflix for one of her comedy specials a year later in 2017.
Yeah, baby, that's the big one.
Right? Well, no, not really. Amy Schumer claimed that the $11 million offer wasn't enough money for 60 minutes of comedy footage, citing it as unfair due to Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle receiving $20 million for their specials. Now, this argument would be perfectly fine assuming all 3 comedy specials were of similar quality, only they most certainly weren't. Amy's comedy special, the one that she was paid $11 million for, was so bad that IMDb users gave it a rating of 3.1 out of 10, whilst Netflix had to check.
That, by the way, that was after some astroturfing, if I remember correctly. They tried really hard to keep this number somewhat respectable, even during the flood of like intense criticism. It's a bad special. I watched this the day it aired. This shit is absolutely atrocious. It is not a 3 out of 10. It is definitely less. And I do vaguely recall there being evidence of them gaming it to try and like pump it slightly by just dumping a bunch of 10s.
10, whilst Netflix had.
Or actually, no. What was it? Did she, I can't remember exactly, but didn't she make a post on Instagram like, if you watch my special, make sure to go leave a 10 on IMDb or something? What was it? It was something like that. I might be getting my wires crossed here, but it was something in that similar vein, and I'm blanking on what exactly it was. I don't know, I'll probably look it up in a minute. Or maybe Sonny will talk about it.
To change their rating system entirely, which hit its 1.35 out of 5-star performance on
that
their
was
platform.
Schwab. Oh, that was Schwab. He gave you the CBD discount. I am getting my wires crossed then? Okay.
The changes to the industry she's made is incredible, like how Netflix had to remove their rating system because her special was so terrible.
The goods and the bads of this comedy special. We'll go ahead and start about what's good with it. That ends that segment. That about covers that.
Dave Chappelle's Netflix special on the other hand received a rating of 8.2
Banger.
on IMDb, whilst Chris Rock's received a less impressive but still superior rating of 6.6 out of 10. Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock were ranked as number 9 and number 5 on Rolling Stone's top 50 comedians of all time, whilst the only list Amy Schumer seems to top is IMDb's top 10 worst comedians of all time. When Dave Chappelle went on Comedy Central all the way back in 2004, he'd receive a viewership of 3.1 million people, yet when Amy Schumer went on Comedy Central at the height of her popularity in 2016, her viewership was less than 500,000. I'm truly cackling at the audacity of Amy Schumer thinking she deserved the same pay as Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. Like, girl, what? So Amy Schumer wants Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle money, but haven't put in the years they put in. Talk about privilege and opportunity, shaking my head. Amy Schumer is maybe Josh Gad level. She's not as famous or endearing as Chris Rock. She's not a legend like Dave Chappelle. In case Amy Schumer complaining about being paid $11 million wasn't already dumb enough, it became even worse when her audience would discover that some of the jokes within her special might have been stolen from other comedians. Compilations began to pop up on YouTube, such as these two, giving example after example of the ways in which Amy Schumer had stolen jokes from other comedians in the past.
How's this?
Oh, that's perfect.
They can ring you up right over there.
Thanks so much.
Sure.
Okay, I'm Bengi. If you need any other sizes, you please let me know, all right?
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
All right, did somebody help you with this?
Yeah, she's right over... Oh, she's not there.
Did someone help you today?
Yeah,
Who was it?
you know, I don't see him.
Oh, that's okay. What did she look like?
She's... dark hair. She was wearing a blazer.
Oh yeah, all the girls are wearing blazers.
Do you know what he looks like?
Yeah, he is wearing like a vest, or like a plaid shirt, I feel like.
I don't know what everyone who works here wore today.
If she had a favorite president, it would probably...
I got a hot take for you real quick. I've never really liked Mad TV. I already see people in the chat saying Mad TV GOAT and Mad TV was the best. I never liked Mad TV. I've just never enjoyed skit shows. The only one I've ever liked, well, two, the Chappelle Show and Whitest Kids You Know. Every other skit show just wasn't for me, man. It just wasn't for me. It's never been my cup of tea.
Lincoln.
Are there any other distinguishing features?
I would guess he probably voted for Obama. I know I did.
As these compilations began to pick up steam on YouTube, news article after news article was published calling Amy Schumer a joke thief, whilst others within the comedy space would come forward stating that Amy Schumer stealing jokes was discussed regularly behind the scenes. Twitter took the exact same standpoint in posts such as, "Is it just me or is Amy Schumer just not that funny?" Despite the fact that she has a terrible personality and steals
This was
half her
2016,
jokes,
that was like the
Amy
most
to address
commonly
the criticism
accepted
in an
take.
Instagram post where she'd once again alleviate any personal responsibility by blaming the backlash on Reddit. Dear sweet misunderstood geniuses in the bowels of subreddit chat rooms. I've never stolen a joke in my life. Also going on the Jim Norton advice show before stating the following.
And I'm so careful. And none of these things had ever reached me. And I will literally take a polygraph. And I just would never do that. Like, that would be so stupid for me to do that.
Amy Schumer would eventually take a polygraph test for a Vanity Fair video, during which she was asked about stealing jokes.
Coming up with new material is difficult. Have you ever stolen a joke?
No.
It just fucking goes ballistic.
What about an idea for a sketch?
Fucking polygraph explodes.
An idea for a character?
No.
Let me rephrase. Have you ever taken inspiration for a joke from somebody else?
No.
Yet the video is edited in a bizarre way where she says no before it fails to include whether or not she was telling the truth. The whole dilemma was certainly a point of debate, yet one joke which Amy Schumer...
If you have to do a polygraph to confirm whether or not you've stolen jokes, I think you've already lost. Polygraphs aren't like the most reliable piece of technology in the world or anything, but if you have to go to such extreme lengths to try and prove your innocence on joke stealing, I think it's already just a lost cause. There's just no reason. Like, you're already fucked. Why even go through the theatrics? He's the prime, Georgie.
Definitely had.
And also, that last question, taking no inspiration for a joke or a special or whatever, that's bullshit. Everyone's taking inspiration from jokes and everything. That's literally how a lot of comedy gets made. Everything is inspired by something to some level. Like, that's a stupid question, and her saying no is even dumber.
Hadn't stolen was a joke made in front of Steve-O back in 2014.
I
relating
referenced
to the
this.
death of his friend
Yes.
Ryan Dunn.
And Steve-O is here. Steve-O, great try. Steve-O! But I truly am, no joke, sorry for the loss of your friend Ryan Dunn. I know you must have been thinking it could have been me, and I know we were all thinking, why wasn't it? Thank you.
Steve-O is
Haha, there you
He's
go,
not,
Amy.
It's for
Haha.
real. Imagine being such a buzzkill that you kill Steve-O's vibe. Amy Schumer doesn't understand the concept of dark humor. She's got the dark, now she just needs to find the humor. What made this even worse was that her audience would eventually use this little zinger as an example that Amy Schumer was able to dish out harsh jokes, but was unable to take them herself. What we're referring to is a tweet made in early 2016 by a 17-year-old movie critic who had posted a photo of himself with Amy Schumer, titled with a light-hearted comedic caption reading, "Spent the night with @Amy Schumer." Certainly not the first guy to write that, referring to Amy often talking about the different guys she's been with during her shows.
Hey, nice one,
so
Jackson.
If Amy thought it was appropriate to joke about Steve-O's recently deceased friend, surely she shouldn't have a problem
Such
with
low-hanging
someone
fruit,
making
I can't help but
comments
respect
about
it.
the amount of guys she's been with, especially considering it's basically all she talks about within her shows. Well, Amy didn't take it all that lightly, replying to the 17-year-old fan by stating, "I get it, cause I'm a whore. Glad I took a photo with you, hi to your dad." Others on Twitter would respond to what you might call Amy's inconsistent joke morals by stating, "That's the same type of joke Amy Schumer uses to keep her fame. Suddenly that humor is off limits now, huh? LOL." Others would support Amy Schumer in tweets stating, "Thank you @Amy Schumer for holding him accountable and not just blowing it off." Yet the
Hey, good work,
discourse
Eric.
and contrast between these two different viewpoints really conclude how Amy Schumer became so hated. She used controversy and difference of opinion to grow her career, whilst angering the entire world in the process.
Man, Sunny only captured like base level Amy. A great video on Amy, but man, she's done so much more to make people hate her. Who remembers Amy Schumer getting asking Kanye to trample her or whatever? Oh God.
You can add this to the list of reasons.
No, just show. I don't need to see the news breakdown. I just want to see the clip. Oh, here it is.
Right down here, please. Guys, right here, please. Down here, please. Down here. Kim, can we get a fashion shot real quick? Right down here, please.
Wait, what? They didn't even show it. Where? I guess
You
maybe
can
we
add
have to do
this to
this
the
one.
list of reasons why we love Amy Schumer. She just pranked Kim Kardashian and Kanye West.
What an awful start. What a tragic start to this video.
Today's episode of Clever Newsfeed is brought to you by the new movie, The Age of Adeline. In magazine's 100 and hit the red carpet. She fell down right in front of them as they were posing for photos. Now, this was obviously done in good fun, but it looks like Kimye was not having it. I mean, they didn't even reach down to see if she was okay. Now, Amy
so they're
is
still not even gonna
BFF
play the
with
clip?
Kanye's ex, Amber Rose, so maybe that's why Kanye didn't get the joke. Or actually,
Man, what a fucking shame. It was a good prank, though. Exit Prime, Miles, and the resub, Purple, Toxic, and Bin, and the Bits Dowland. What a prank. I know. She's the master. Full of goofs and gaffs. I don't think Kanye really enjoys much, to be honest. Well, I don't think anyone on planet Earth would enjoy this. Like, what do you even do? Oh, so Amy Schumer laid down in front of me. I mean, I guess I'll just use her as a floor mat and wipe my boots on her. Like, how do you respond? Like, you just walk by. Like, there's nothing to do. Like, there's just absolutely nothing to do there. It's just stupid. Help her up? Oh, what do you mean help her up? She's the video's not doing it justice. In the full clip, she was like doing an interview or something, and then she like scurries away to go pull off this grand prank, but she just like slowly gets down on her knees and lays out. It's not like she falls. Thanks to the Prime, Taysom. Was it a prank or not? Yes, it was supposed to be some kind of Amy Schumer original prank. But like, there's nothing to do here. She just lays down on the floor. Like, that's the prank. Read Kanye's response. Did Kanye ever even mention it? Kanye West wanted Amy Schumer to die after the red carpet prank. Hey, I'm no fan of Amy Schumer. You know, I don't like her as much as the next guy, but that's pretty intense. Oh, he didn't say, I hope you die or anything. Oh. Underwhelming response. Very misleading headline.